Hi everybody, welcome to the amazing world of the B2. Okay, so if you go to page 16, we're going to have a look at part 2. Okay, the other day I recorded the video for part 1, so now we're going to get started with part 2. So in parts 1, 2 and 3 are the same. This means that you will have a text with 8 gaps. Okay, then you have to use different words to complete the gaps, but that initial structure is the same. That's why you have to do the same procedure, follow the same procedure, which is read, try to understand, etc. Okay, always write an answer. If you make a mistake, it doesn't take away a correct answer. Okay, so always write something and only one word. If you write a contraction, that is 2 words. Okay, so be careful with that. This part focuses on grammar. Remember, part 1 focused on vocabulary, okay, words with similar meanings, collocations, etc. There are things that coincide. For example, here I have phrasal verbs, which also appeared in part 1 of fixed phrases. But for example, all these are new. Okay, these are little words which are necessary grammatically speaking. Okay, for example, things like this: a little sugar. It has to be little because it's uncountable. Few because few books because it's countable. Things like that. Okay, that's an example. All the examples that we see in the podcast. Relative pronouns like which, that appears all the time. Auxiliary verbs, verb to be for the passive, or verb to be for the continuous forms. Prepositions, whether it's like arrive at a place or just part of a phrasal verb. Articles, now you have some examples of articles here. Okay, so these are very typical words that we've seen. Okay, fixes phrases like as well as or no longer, in order to, linking devices to, okay, like but, and, however, although. We've seen some of these. Okay, so first exercise, we're going to practice these first the articles and determinants. Okay, determinants like this, that, this, and those. Okay, so read the sentences carefully and write the answer. I'm going to show them in 3, 2, 1, 0. Please make sure you've done it. I'm going to try them all. So here are your answers. Here, because it's plural, so when you have plural in general, they are good chess players. You don't write an article. Here in Spain, in Spanish should be the same anyway. Okay, now for superlative, the is not specific, not specific, not specific, nothing for countries, or like this. Okay, you don't say the last week. Specific, the head teacher at that school is a friend. Not specific. The people I work with, when you say the people I work or the people that I work with, this is a defining clause, therefore this is specific. At the seaside, or to the seaside, at the weekend. Okay, this is always like this. Okay, specific because it's here, this vase. Look at this vase that I'm holding, or that is close to us, I'm pointing at it. Okay, not specific. These, the same as these vase or these slippers, like house shoes. These appears in Rebecca. I went to the shops. Is an expression like go shopping. I went to the shops. Hey, let's go to the shops. Not specific, nothing. You go home. Home doesn't normally take a preposition. You can say stay at home, but even stay home, go home, return home, arrive home, normally doesn't take preposition. Okay, specific, that the box for the phone, both of them are specific. This book I'm touching, okay, it's an exciting book. Not this one, it's more of an expression. It was such an amazing day. Okay, so in this kind of structure, such is even if it's specific because you've said this. A film, not specific. Okay, in the cinema, like in general, let's go to the cinema. Okay, but most of these are the same in Spanish. And nothing for days. You don't write an article. Okay, so next round. These are typical words that are used. If you look at them, we've seen them relatively often in all the exercises we've done, Rebecca, podcasts, etc. Okay, some words may be used more than once. Okay, so notice that. And I think these are all like quantifiers. I have here articles, quantifiers, and determinants. Quantifiers are like few, little, etc. Okay, so really carefully notice especially the words around the gap. okay? When it has to do with countable and uncountable, the words around the gap determine which word you need and then the meaning too, okay? So if you're done, I'm going to show the answers in 3, 2, 1, so make sure you've done it, okay? So if you want, stop it, correct it, try to understand why that is the correct answer, and then when you've made this effort to understand, you continue playing the video and I'll explain, okay? So I'm going to start explaining now, but better if you understand the mistakes first before I give the explanation. Okay, a lot of people, many people, a lot of, a few of her friends, it's countable, so a few of specific, the food, I was looking forward to the food, more than comparative, every, I didn't write this one, every guest, remember, like everyone, every guest, every morning is like all the guests, all the mornings, but normally every is more common than all. Here all the guests would be okay. Every, notice every plus singular, every guest, everyone, but the meaning is plural. Okay. As many as possible, it is countable, so as many dishes. Okay. Most of all, this is the meaning of the words. Every goes together. None of them, so 0. Okay. This is, I don't have any, so any in the negative. I don't have. Well, no one of them. None of them is negative, so any sweet. Okay, so there was lots. Sorry, I didn't write this one. Lots of food. Lots of. Notice this. Imagine it's plural, so you have a lot of or lots of without a. Okay, sometimes you get these ones mixed up, so you have to be especially careful. Okay, so no desserts, 0 desserts. Remember that no is very common. It can be used with countable and uncountable. I have no money, I have no friends, whatever. Okay. One of them, a, not specific, what we saw before, not specific. Both of us, this is because there were 2. Some can be used with countable and uncountable in positive sentences, okay, in statements. So covering a, not specific, and not specific. I did make an amazing hat. This did for emphasis. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Surprisingly, you have some advice or a tip that coincides with mine. Read the whole text first, okay? Then look at each of the gaps. At the end, read the whole sentence, or after everything, read the whole sentence. But make sure you read the sentence after you've filled in the gap, to make sure that it fits grammatically, like the examples we saw before about countable and uncountable. Okay, so I told you relative pronouns are very common here. Okay, relative pronouns, again, where, when, which, why also counts as that, and who, whom, whose is one that is difficult to use. Okay, so go ahead, fill in the gaps, and I'll show the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Okay, try to understand why that is the correct answer. I'm going to, if you need to stop, you stop. I'm going to explain. Okay, explain each of them. The woman, who, or that. Okay, when you don't have commas, it is defining, and when it is defining, you can use both that or who for people. Okay, same thing here, but with objects. Which for objects, but you can say that. After commas, you can only use who. Okay, you can here in this case you could use whom, because when it is an object como directo, you can use whom. Okay, whom I think you've met. Not when it's a subject. The person who came, you can say the person whom came. Only when it is the object. You've met Jane, so that's the object. Where for places where the action happens. Remember, Elda is a city which is close to Alicante. There, Elda is the subject. Elda is close to Alicante, the city which is close. So there you wouldn't be able to say where. Okay, so where, when it refers to a place where the action happens. I live in that place. Okay, after commas again, who, and now it's the subject, so you can't say whom. In which, remember, in which is the same as where. Elda is a city where I grew up, in which I grew up. Whose, I told you that's difficult, belongs to someone whose back this is. And which after commas, you have no choice but to say which or who. Okay, when it refers to an object which or a person who. Okay, so next exercise, there are some mistakes here, you have to correct them. Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to show you this in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I have a little clue. A couple of them are correct. Okay, this one and this one, these two are correct. So yes, I hope you can stop it and try to understand or correct. Or okay, if you didn't realize that's what was missing or that sentence was got wrong or whatever, okay, try, and I'm going to show the answers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, whose, again, the mother belongs to Barbara, so whose mother. After commas, you can't say that. This one is correct. Again, after commas, you can say that. So this refers to an object which, this refers to a person who. Okay, where or in which, but you don't have in, so the place where the action happened. I left my umbrella there. And the college, which for objects. So your colleague is a person, so who or they, because there are no commas, this is defining, so no problem. And the same here, who or that, because it's defining, so no problem. And next exercise, this may be one of the most hated areas of the English language, prepositions. So decide where each of these goes. Okay, I'm going to give the answers in 3, 2, 1. Try your best. Feel the language. If you have doubts, try them. At behalf of, at balance. Oof, I don't know. You can try all the prepositions, see which one sounds best. If it helps, better than nothing. Okay. So I'm going to give the answers. Okay, these are the ones with at least corrected properly. I don't know. The global economy is at risk. At all costs, like no matter what. You have to pass the B2 at all costs. Even if you... This is a joke. Even if you have to pay someone. No, not at all costs. Okay. And love at first sight. Okay. So those are for at, not for on. Okay. On behalf of... It's when you write a letter and you write on behalf of all your classmates. Okay. In their name. I think you can say in their name too, but on behalf of. Okay. On balance, I think this is worth it, taking everything into account. On average, 90% of the students pass the B2 on average. So 1 out of 10 fails on average. On a daily basis means daily. On a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. So it's like daily, weekly, monthly. On condition that, we've seen that, like provided that, on condition that. Okay, next one. For the sake of your mother is do it for your mother. Do it for the sake of, or we're going to this exercise for the sake of practice. It's just sake of means to do, just to do it. For the sake of it, por hacerlo. For your mother's sake, por tu madre. For your father's sake, por tu padre. So sake, most of the times doesn't even have a meaning. For the sake of that, to introduce the reason why you're doing something. And I'm for real. This is for real, guys. Trust me. So this is real. This is for real. We're doing this for real. Are we doing an exam for real, David? Like, is it true that we are doing it? Okay, next one. Okay, in the first place, in an essay you could write this. In the first place, the reason why, blah blah. Okay, so in the first place, to begin with. So in a way, I love you all. In different ways, but in a way, in theory, like theoretically speaking. In any case, the expression. In any case, even if you don't come to class, in any case, you need to prepare the lesson or prepare the homework. In need of, this appears in an exam. Okay, in need of assistant, in need of urgent care. Many people in Ukraine are in need of. Then this in need of, but then write need. There's a video game, Need for Speed Underground or Need for Speed. There are different games. Okay, but Need for Speed. Need for, there's a need for something, but then you are in need of assistant, in need of, to notice. In view of the marks in this group, I think I'm going to make you come on Fridays. It's a la vista de. In due course is when it's time. David, when are we going to take the B2, or when are we going to do the enrollment? La matrícula. Well, we'll do it or we'll see it in due course, like when the time comes. In conclusion, like at the end of the essay, in conclusion, and to be in doubt. Okay, if you're in doubt, it's better to continue studying. And with, okay, just with respect to it, like regarding, I want to write to you with respect to your application. Okay, next, I think just these two, right? By heart, you need to learn the irregular verbs by heart, like using your memory, by heart. You need to remember them perfectly. And by far, this is the longest lesson I've ever recorded, okay, to emphasize the superlative. Remember, you say far better, but by far the best. Okay, next one. Now you need to put into practice what I hope you've learned. There was a lot of vocabulary up there, but you need to use those. Okay, those expressions, the whole thing with the preposition included. I don't think you have to make any changes. It's just the expression the way it is. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start writing the answers. So make sure you've done it. Okay, don't cheat. The answers are here. Make sure you have it. Okay, we'll contact you in due course, like when the time is right. For everybody in need of, you have to memorize it at least. Okay, something positive at least. This is, look, nearly the exact same example I told you with respect to your application, as if I had prepared this beforehand. And so for real, it was real, for real. And on behalf of, you see, normally you speak or you write on behalf of other people. Okay, so next one, these are linking devices. Okay, like nevertheless, despite the fact. Okay, so can you match them to the use? I'm going to give the answers in 3, 2, 1. So hurry up. I've written the answer, so please make sure you have it. Okay, so as long as, it's like if, basically. Okay, so as long as you study, I'll be happy. No matter, so it's like even, similar to even if. Okay, so even if you study, you will fail, or even if you whatever. Okay, so no matter whether you study or not, or no matter what you do. Not only this is for emphasis. Okay? So not only did you pass the exam, you also got a 10. So not only, remember, with invention, most times you see with past simple. So not only did I, invention means that it looks like a question. Did I pass the exam? Not only did I pass the exam, I also, normally with also or to. I passed the, I got a 10 too. So as to is the same as in order to. Okay, so the reason why you're going to something, you come here so as to learn. This was for contrast number 5. Okay, so despite the fact that it rained, this is the same as although, exactly the same. This, although it rained, despite the fact that it rained, for contrast. 6 is to add. On top of this, nevertheless, for contrast, after a full stop and followed by a comma. He studied, nevertheless, comma, he failed the exam and needs to repeat it. Okay, so surprising because that's contrast. And not to mention, you're going to emphasize the last thing. Okay, okay, so you'll have to use these ones to fill in the gaps. So get it done. I'm going to start showing the answers. 3, 2, 1, get it done. Okay, I'm showing the answers. So despite the fact that, so as to what I told you. So not only did, you see, with the past, he also, I told you, either with also or to. Notice the spelling of satisfying, collocations, dreams come true. Okay, there's always a lot of vocabulary or expressions in these exercises, okay, which are words that might appear later on at some point. Okay. Anyway, I told you, nevertheless, after full stop with a comma. If you have any questions, you can always ask in class or send an email or comment. Okay, but this is basically what I said before. That's it. Okay, but in the end, like eventually, at the end of everything. So in the end, finally. Okay, so now we have the actual exercise, okay, that you have in the exam. So procedure: read the title, read the text quickly to get an idea. Then you check the gaps, okay, without forgetting about the meaning of the text, and try to write the correct word. Okay, make sure you Okay, you look at the words on either side. It is very important. Okay, but especially the words around the gap. And afterwards, you read the text. Okay, remember, only write one word. Even if you think that there are two possibilities like who and that, just write one. Okay, and don't leave any gaps. You don't lose any marks for wrong answers. Okay, so you can do this. Read the text, stop it. So it's about A. Okay, MasterChef. That's funny. Okay, you have some advice. You can try to do it without looking at the advice, and then you check the advice. Okay, so I'm going to follow the procedure. Okay, please. I'm going to show you answers in 3, 2, 1. I want to show the answers. Make sure you've done it. Please don't cheat. Okay, so look at the answers. Try to understand why that is the correct answer, which probably has to do with this advice already. And after you've tried to understand, then you can continue playing the video. Okay, so but you should really stop and make an effort to understand. Okay, so famous for its shoe industry. We've seen this. Came up with this is in the B2 exam. Some people do. In you particularly, the first people I'm recording this for, you did this test. Came up with. Okay, so 11 over the course of, is like during that time, over the course of your life. Okay, one of, we've seen this one. I remember the one of Chile. You have this in unit 5. One of, you provide someone with, okay, so provided him with noticeable position. In general, it goes together. Being able, has been able, you need the correct form of verb to be with able. I am able, he was able. And as much as, this one appears several times, as much as. Okay, so record your mistakes, and that's it. If you have any questions, you can ask in class or send me an email, message, whatever. Thank you very much. Bye.